80% electrolytic fluid. People say we're 80% water. No, we're not. We're 80% electrolytic fluid and blood and saliva and mucus, whatever.
Right.
And of course, part of that is made up of H2O, but it needs to be in a particular structure, and that's why they talk about electrolytes, right? So we're talking, electrolytes are simply a certain type of structure, and like you said earlier, information or a sequence of frequencies that the body resonates with.
Right.
If you take those out and you have dead water, it doesn't do well for you. Your body's like, wow, what do I do with this?
What are some of the company names or mineral company names that perhaps people could look out for?
One of them is out of Australia. One of the popular ones is Pure Aussie.
Yeah.
That's the one that I know has a pure product. There's other ones that are out of the Great Salt Lake, but I won't touch them because it's from a Superfund site, which is not, I don't believe that they can prove any purity.
Right.
Big company, but I don't like stuff that sits for a very, very, very long time.
Right.
They take it. When you're talking about fresh ocean water that is evaporated down over a period of months until it's super concentrated, the sodium chloride's dropped out, you have the magnesium and all the different mineral matrix. That resonates with your blood system because if you cry tears, that's about 1/3 diluted ocean water. And it has the same mineral structure.
Wow.
Blood, the same thing. So Dr. Rene Quinton in the early 1900s, and that's Quinton, Quinton, pronounced Quinton, he actually would get what's called isotonic ocean water, ultra purified. They had a way to cold filter it.
Right.
Pulled it out of a spring bloom. They would inject that intravenously and very large quantities to displace as much of the blood system as possible, and saw remarkable results in disease remediation with that.
Right.
So, we know that there's a power there. And that marine phytoplankton in the ocean has been metabolizing ocean water for millennia. Right? So because that's what they consume, sunlight, ocean water, and CO2. We don't grow ours in the ocean, of course, because you can't harvest marine phytoplankton out of the ocean. It's microscopic. And plus you have to control which strain is growing, because most strains have no benefit to the human body at all.
Right.
So when you're spending $100 million euro on a bioreactor to grow phytoplankton, you make sure that multiple $1 million batch being grown has the specific, most beneficial heirloom strain in there, and that's how that works.
Right.
So yes, all hyper purified. It's way beyond organic will ever be.
Beyond organic, I love that.
Yeah, a lot of people use that term now, but it's for real, because if you look at the United States alone, just the U.S., which is less than 5% of the world population in Canada and the U.S. combined, there are trillions of miles. I don't have the exact numbers, but there's the mileage is so high that from the truck, 18-wheelers, the cars that have this much rubber tread on the tires are yay big to yay big, right?
Yeah.
That wide across, and they spin down the highway. All that rubber goes into the air. It does not lay down on the pavement. If it laid down on the pavement would be 10 feet thicker at the end of the year.
Right.
But the centrifugal force of that wear factor, right, the friction of it going down the road, releases microscopic rubber dust that's full of all types of heavy metals, chemicals, and whatever else,
right,
which they measure 1.5 miles above the highways of North America. That gets carried by the general wind currents all over everything and falls out. There's 50,000, and plus the fuel from the cars and trucks. Okay, that's another one. Plus the 50,000 flights that take off and land every day in the United States alone. Right? You drive by an airport, how much raw kerosene do you smell?
Yeah.
That goes everywhere.
Yeah.
And then the chemtrails that they now know they're spraying, they've now admitted, we're doing chemtrails, it's for communication, it's for this, it's for that. And they spray all the time.
Right.
But that falls on top of all the crops. So when you're talking about a really powerful broad-spectrum nutrient, this one's grown in a sealed photobioreactor. Only sequestered CO2 gets injected. It's ultra pure, and it produces pure oxygen. And out the end comes a certifiable product that has zero contamination. Wow. No unfriendly bacteria, no other strains, no nothing that is in any way detrimental.
So this is the marine phytoplankton.
That's the marine phytoplankton.
Right. And so talk a little bit about that. I know that obviously eating more natural organic foods is important. Eating, this vortex water, with the proper structures, remineralizing your water to have good electrolytic, balance is important. But really, you're an expert in this marine phytoplankton and getting into the nitty gritty of understanding the science of this. And obviously, it's done some amazing things for you and all of your clients. But yeah, tell us a little bit more about this. And sounds like you've invested a lot of money into the technology, obviously, but would just love to know the ins and outs of this science.
Right. Yeah. The investment was really done by Europeans. Fortunately, we didn't have to do that. Otherwise, it would never have happened.
Right.
A $12 billion revenue company in Europe is actually funding an entire pilot project around this. They got so excited about it when they saw it 2 years ago, because they now know that it is the future functional novel food, period.
Wow.
And they now have EU certification on that to back all that up. So we're talking about novel functional foods. That means nutrition that has never been done before. It is truly most beneficial to human health nutritionally than anything else.
Wow.
And it's never eaten anything before, and it's never been eaten. So phytoplankton only eats sunlight, minerals, and CO2, and it proliferates and is full of oil. Please tell me, where does the oil come from? Because there's no oil in sunlight that we know of. There's definitely no oil in ocean water, and there's definitely no oil in CO2, but these things produce massive amounts of EPA, which is that essential fatty acid for fueling your entire brain, nervous system. Unlike DHA, which is more structural, EPA is the fuel, right?
Right.
The highest level, highest octane you can put in your system. So but when you're talking about a foundational thing, if you have a nutrient that supports all life in the ocean all the way up to the largest mammal, the great blue whale, as a foundational food, that's a whole different category of status, right? It produces up to 90% of the oxygen we're breathing. How important is oxygen to us?
Wow.
Because oxygen is number one nutrient, right?
Yeah.
Number one. If God removed all the oxygen off the planet right at this very second, completely removed it all at once, we'd have about 15 seconds, we'd all be passed out on the floor in another 2 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
It'd be like that.
Yeah.
So oxygen is number one most important.
Right.
And so this marine phytoplankton is sucking up unbelievable amounts of CO2 in the production and producing just massive volumes of oxygen.
Wow.
In the photobioreactor. You walk around that place, it's like, wow. You wouldn't want to hang around there because you don't want to have overabundance of oxygen coming at you. That's not good for you. It makes your body go on vacation so that when you're in regular atmosphere, you don't get enough. You want to be like a mountain climber at the top of Everest that can perform as an athlete in the most oxygen-deprived conditions possible.
Right.
Then when you come back down here, you're using oxygen way better out of the air, which is called hypobaric, right? Rather than hyperbaric. And that's a whole another technology we can talk about another time. That's very exciting. But being able to utilize oxygen better and being able to get super fuel to your cell without a demethylation point. So,
and tell the listeners what a demethylation point is, what methylation is, and maybe I can add on if there's anything I feel like might be beneficial as well.
Yeah, so I didn't have a clue what it was at all when I first started. I'm going,
right.
But so the guys in Europe said to me, he said, well, the way it works is when a baby is forming in a mother's womb, from that first sperm making that first egg fertilized and that doubling of the cells, that's the ultimate methylation. So it's methylating. It's building this amazingly beautiful, healthy body. And out it comes 9 months later, glowing with life. It continues to methylate.